I'm standing in front of our education facility we call the WaterShed, and it's open to the public. We have over $1 million of electronic exhibits inside. Plus, wrapped around all that, we have lots and lots of art, which we're very proud of.
The art that's at Boise WaterShed is all connected to the vision and the mission of the center, which is about water and recycling and what's in our environment.
Really, really cool. Hey, look it, it's a toilet flusher. Ah! That's right, I just flushed it in this whole tree.
Well, as you're approaching the building, you'll see Patrick Zentz's H2O. Pat is from Montana. He's originally a cattle rancher and has a biology background. He's very aware of systems of things. So that piece is really about wind velocity, wind direction. So you physically experience it as you're coming up. You'll see it spinning in the wind, and if you look closely, you'll see that it's actually a water molecule. It's H2O, literally. And then on the base of the structure, there are snowflakes that are articulated, so that he's showing water that is frozen, water that's moving, and then referencing the wind.
The first project that we did was the concrete walls, and the concrete walls actually wrap the entire building. I started my inspiration for the wall by looking at Lucky Peak Reservoir. And obviously the reservoir is a way for us to manage water in the Boise River. So systematically throughout the summer and fall, they're letting water out of the reservoir and into the river. And as that happens, there's these rings that are left around the bank of the reservoir. And I think that is just incredibly fascinating, because it's like this precise intersection of nature and man that is creating this sort of pattern and this design on the banks of the reservoir.
Then as you enter the building, you hear the sounds of Pat Zentz's piece. It's an audio piece that translates wind velocity and direction coming from the ceiling, from the roof outside, into a musical instrument. There are drums in the piece that are oriented to the compass, and they ring based on the information they're getting from these data sensors on the roof.
So I started researching with the Idaho Department of Water Resources, and they do a lot of their work based on satellite imagery. And I found that just incredibly fascinating that you know, they're using satellites in order to map and track and study water on the landscape. So the imagery that they were using is in infrared. So whatever's red on these images is where water is on the landscape. I wanted from Lucky Peak to the Snake River, of the Boise River flowing. So I found a section that I wanted to use, and then I changed the colors. I brought them more into a landscape sort of color scheme. Farmland and crop circles, canals, and ditches, roadways, and neighborhoods, because you know, the way that the water looks and is used in the farmland sort of situation is completely different than how water looks from above in a neighborhood. So what's coming through on the windows is a mapping, essentially, of, at some point in time, whenever that photo was taken, of wherever water was kind of soaked into the earth. With the floor design, what I really wanted to accomplish was, when you enter the building, you're almost in this pool of water. similar to being in a reservoir at Lucky Peak. And then the water sort of flows out into a river channel, and the river leads you into the building, leads you into the public space of the building. And other design features in the floor are sort of rock features and topography lines and different patchwork sort of landscape and farmland. And what I'm trying to achieve with the design is that we are stewards of our section of the river, but there's always a downstream user, and that we need to keep the water healthy and clean for those other people that are downstream.
I'm a very linear thinker. I'm an engineer, and I love people that can take the creativity and develop it into art, do something that I would never think of. And the art pieces, the water fountains and the sinks were created out of old pipe fittings, large pipe fittings. Amy was able to take those and create very functional water fountains and sinks out of the deal. I would have never thought to have done that myself.
And they just have this like really industrial presence to them. And of course, all of that is usually underground and we don't see that, but all of that is connecting us to water in our homes and connecting us to the wastewater treatment plant as well. So those pipes are really important.
Boise WaterShed was conceived. We knew it was going to take some time to get it built, but we wanted to start with some public art projects before it was built. And we hired Diane Ronayne to do a series of photographs that focused on water. So these are images of Diane. She shot images at Boise WaterShed and all around town focusing on water. And then we did an exhibit of those that traveled around to schools and other public buildings before Boise WaterShed was built. And then once the facility was built, we installed this monitor with images so that people could see those images that she took.
You go inside and you see photographs, and you stand there and watch photograph after photograph, very pretty, very nice work, and then you step back and said, shoot, that was shot in a wastewater facility. You know, that's not where you expect to find nice photography.
It's called Pipe Tree. So I collected a lot of pipes, and actually most of them are from this facility. I just began growing from the base upwards these pipes, intertwining them and imagining all along how all of the pipes that we don't see underground and how they could maybe fantastically begin, you know, coming together and burst out into a tree. And of course, then dripping from these faucets on the end of all these pipe branches are cast bronze actual leaves that I took an imprint of cottonwoods that grow along this river. They hit against the pipes, so it's very musical.
It's a hugely popular exhibit. We use the EnviroGuard pipe tree to recognize our EnviroGuard winners. These are businesses that are recognized every year throughout the community who have gone above and beyond in terms of environmental protection. And so we recognize them and then we display their names onto this very interesting, almost full-size tree.
Public art brings a whole different dynamic to a city and to a building that is so important.
As we continue to educate them within the facility, through our exhibits, through the art, it helps them better understand how they fit into the big picture and their responsibilities as a citizen to protect and preserve the resource.